Mrs. N. Yeah. Or, yeah. Nahom. That's my name. And I don't even know where to start. Like, I can't even segue into the next thing I want to, like, my brain is not working very well. And that is very common the day after Global Game Jam for me. Is anybody else here? Did the jam kind of tired today? Maybe? Yeah, you pooped tired. Okay, cool. So good news is that in mind, and just that I'm not even really capable of articulating as well as normal, and I already struggle with that in a good day. We're not going to cover too much of new stuff today, but rather next steps and where we are in our kit bash. And I'll be able to cover a little bit more in depth, like what your assignment is going to be. Oh no, Ashley, please take care of yourself, bud. Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear. I hope it passes quickly, and I hope that you don't have to brain fog for too long. I'm so sorry, Ashley. Man, this is no joke. Well, actually, what you're mentioning here now is kind of topical, since last week we got the email from the school that we're going to be resuming classes in person as of next week. But it was remarked, and it's basically the case that that's per instructor, it's up to their discretion. So it's kind of up to me how I want to do it. Now, what I'm not going to do is say what I want to do, and then that's what we're going to do without for sure making sure that you've had a voice in that experience, or in this topic. We can talk about it a little bit right now in class, but I did post on Canvas, which I will go ahead and share these with you now. A on-site or online survey right here. Oh, and of course I've got my that's way in the way. We've got the survey right here. I'll throw some points at you if you go ahead and take this survey. So in the survey, it does ask for your name, not because it's just so that I know to give you points on Canvas, really, and to also make sure that you are in fact a person in my class and not a random person who's just, beefing up the data, right? So there's I have to protect the data. But also, I think it's just a good point too, because I did accidentally have a couple of people accidentally submit twice, and that does change the data. So, please go ahead and put your name on here and answer a few questions, and then go ahead and click submit. Once you do, if you haven't already, I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and take a moment now to do it before we talk too much further, because I am going to share the results, not what people said individually, but just the data trends, so that we could talk about what that might mean for us. Okay. So I'm going to give everybody about 5 minutes or so to go ahead and take that survey for me. I'd really appreciate it. So how are we doing on those surveys? Anybody need a few more minutes? Good. Okay. All right. Looks like everybody's doing okay. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to refresh my results. We're going to pull up the responses. Oh, yeah, we got a few more people. Thank you. Question. Okay, there. Okay, let's go ahead and screen share what we got, because I'm all for transparency. I'm for sharing with you what we're sharing with each other. In favor for going back to the classroom, we've got 4 people. Most people are kind of meh on it, and a couple people not at all in favor of going back. We scroll down here to in favor of staying online. Now, I found this interesting. You'd think that if you're in favor of one, you're not in favor of the other, but it turns out that when you offer a sliding scale, people tend to feel out on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I like it? So you get to really feel the nuances of how people are feeling. It seems like while we've got a lot of people kind of in the tepid mid zone about going back in person, and a couple people really wanting to, we've got considerably more people leaning towards staying online versus not at all. Well, this is interesting. It's interesting. Okay. Now, the nuances of the questions. I am open to using remote access to work from home for computer and software use. Okay. This is to help people who prefer to be in person for logistical reasons, like I need access to those things, for you to still have access to them. So that could hopefully help with that. Or I'm willing to work online if you need my person time, my face time. And we've got about yeses and a few maybes. Okay. All right. All right. I'll read these guys later for more nuances of decisions. So what do you guys think? What do you think of the data?
I have to be honest, I'm in between. Going back.
Sure.
Once okay.
Okay. Yep. Okay. I'm sure you're not the only one. Alex.
So for me, I'm okay with those kind of delays because I need to walk away, stuff like that anyway. And it's like by the time that we're coming back to class, explained and I'm refreshed, or I can look it up online. So it kind of helps with that
Because
if we just try to cram it all one day, I get real strung out.
Word. Word. Okay, Alex, you were gonna say something.
I think if there was any other but you, I would feel open to staying online, but I think you balanced out really well. So like I'm okay doing class online.
Okay. In this class. Got it. You know, not all. Yep. Well, if we do go back in person, well, here's one thing I will definitely not do. This is not what's going to happen. I am not going to force anybody to go in person all the time for mandatory attendance. That's not happening this quarter. Frankly, there are too many people, few people here whom I won't, don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable about, that have very medical reasons why their risks are considerably higher. And for those same reasons that I wouldn't require a student to forcibly come to class, say if you have a job or a kid or a parent that you need to take care of that requires you to be somewhere else, I'm not going to punish that behavior, right? So that's not going to be what happens this quarter. But I do hear and understand the need for some FaceTime for some of you. Sometimes the online options get it's hard to focus for some people, right? So, well, I mean, barely. First off, Cranky Pants Neho over here is barely holding it together today. So that's very sweet of you. But second, all I'm doing is just letting you guys have a voice in this. Like, I barely call that like amazing. Like, it's just about like making sure we're considering all of these things. I'm leaning towards an option of doing an office hours once a week outside of class time. For those of you that may feel they would either like access to the computers, you don't need to talk to me, you could just access the computers in the classroom. Or maybe you want a little bit of in-person time to cover what we just did, what we just talked about in class. I can do that. I think I'd prefer once a week, but I could do it a couple times a week if it comes to that. So I was thinking about doing something like a Monday afternoon office hours, like I did last quarter, from 3 to 5 p.m., maybe later. For those of you that just need access, does that time frame even work well for you? For those that would care to come in person? Okay. Then yes. Okay, we got a favor. Yes. It might also take some time to think it out. So what that would mean is that when we would end class at 2:40, I would then hop on over to Bellevue, which is not far from where I am. And I would open N209 for y'all to continue to work, meet with me, share your homework, talk about your grade, whatever, those things, or just have access to the classroom. Now, there's another thing. We do have a computer lab for DMA explicitly, the N207 computer lab. Now that is not our classroom. The computers in the classroom are better, but they do have all of the software that you need. They have Unreal, they have all of the Substance suite, they have everything. You need a code to get into that, which I'm gaining access to that this week, so you can have that from me. So if you really want access to computers without having to require my presence in a classroom, you still have that. You still have that option. Is that a thing that you knew about, guys?
I knew about the lab, but I didn't know they had a
That's why it's our lab. So that this part gets, I think, a little confusing for some people. The N250 lab is the big computer lab in the N building. That is not a DMA computer lab. I think it has Adobe, but it doesn't have like 3D software. It doesn't have Maya. It doesn't have game engines. Doesn't have those things. That would be really cool if they did. And when we do game jams in there, they will install them temporarily, but then they won't stay up. So the big computer lab is not what I'm talking about. The N207, it's like a small room off to the side in front of N209 and N202. There's like a little hallway across the path of it. That classroom has about 10 computers in there, maybe a little bit more. And there's a couple of Mac computers, a few PCs, and they have our software. Those are for us. Those are DMA computers, and that's a DMA computer lab. So other people aren't supposed to be using that in the school. And that's why we protect them with codes to get in. And every quarter we update it, what the code is for our students, and then only the instructors can give them to you in class when you ask for them. We're like really protective of that space. We don't want just anybody going in there and using our stuff. It's our stuff. Okay. All right. I'll let y'all chew it over. For now, what I'm thinking is we continue to stay online, aware of these options, from the computer lab access to remote access from home, if need be, to my office hours for a couple of hours every Monday afternoon. That's what I'm leaning towards, but I would like to let y'all kind of mull that over for a bit. And if you have real concerns about that, you can message me directly and we can talk about that further. So I want to just make sure that everybody feels a little bit more comfortable with whatever we're doing moving forward. Hey, neat. Cool. All right. So what's next? What am I doing? Woo! Hot diggity dog. I've updated everybody's homeworky up to this point. But you didn't really have much else from last week except for like a work in progress. Like show me where you're at. And I gotta say, the week prior to this current week, I'm feeling a lot better about your understandings of trim sheets and the process of getting things through to like Substance Painter and stuff. That being said, and the grades being updated, I've gone ahead and published, finally, the actual Kit Bash assignment. Jeez, I give you guys a lot of stuff. I'm sorry about that. All right. All right, so you're creating 3D pieces that will be a kit bash for an interior space, right? Using the reference images that you and your team pulled together, create 5 pieces at a minimum for your space using the PBR materials pipeline, Substance, with a minimum of 1 trim sheet and 1 tiling material to use to construct a 3D space in Unreal. Okay, now this hopefully now sounds a lot less scary than when I first talked about it a couple of weeks ago, right? And here are the pieces that we'll need to have. You'll need to have 1 wall piece, ratio 1:2, 1 wall for a window, ratio 1:2, and 1 wall for a door, ratio 1:2. You don't have to make the window and the door unless you want to, but you do have to make those walls for those pieces. And but you may go ahead and complete them if you'd like. You'll also need to make a ceiling piece and a floor piece. These guys should be tiled 1-to-1. And so I think you're probably okay at this point. And making sure that we cover how to set up your grid in Maya. Oh, and I mean, that was covered last week, but I'm remarking on it here because you'll need to make sure that you set up your grid that way so that when you bring your stuff over to Unreal, it's not teeny tiny a centimeter big and it is the correct size. Okay. So that's just a friendly reminder that this footprint that we established is based off of the grid in Unreal that we have to replicate in Unity, or I'm sorry, in Maya. Oh, brain. Sorry. Okay. Now, minimum requirements for the materials they're a minimum, they're not a limit. So you may use more, but I mean, if you do this right, you probably do the whole thing with just the 2 materials. So you'll need at least 1 trim sheet, which you guys have been working on. Great job. And 1 tiling PBR texture. Now for this guy, I think what I'm going to do this week, because on Wednesday, we're going to cover Substance Designer. And Substance Designer is a big program. It is kind of huge in what it's capable of doing and also retraining how you think about approaching materials a little bit. So I'm not going to require you to make a brand new material in that program yet. We're going to go deeper in a later assignment of just focusing on Substance Designer for a little while. But for this week, you will need to make sure that you've got Substance Designer installed or you have access to it. If you've got remote access, you've got it. You're already there. You already have access. So to kind of remove the sting of that worry a little bit, on Wednesday, try to have your assets ready to be brought over to Unreal, except for whatever tiling material you might be needing, such as brick or wood panels, right? If you've been working on wood and brick panels, I'm concerned that you won't need them for this next bit. Okay, let's see. So for your submission here, 5 FBX files. That's 1 wall, 1 wall, 1 wall, ceiling, and floor. 2 PBR material bundles at a minimum. That's the trim and the tiling material. Now we need at least 4 texture maps for each. That's the color, normal, metallic, and roughness. I should know what those are. If not, we'll cover them today. And same thing for our tiling. We'll need a color, normal, metallic, and roughness. Okay. And a PBR render of the assembly of your stuff in Unreal. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Global Game Gems had me working in both of the engines. I'm like, my brain. Yeah.
So this might be redundant, but the trim sheet is going to fulfill the texture of all of our, like we're going to make one for all the things.
It's very possible. It's very possible. Now, it doesn't necessarily work for everybody's goals. Some, you know, so I don't put that restriction on here or requirement. Like you need to material everything with 1 trim sheet. Go hard or go home. Yeah, like that's a little intense. That's a great goal to have for yourself. But if it doesn't work, that's okay. Like don't overthink it, right? The idea is that you've been exposed to a trim sheet. You understand how they work. And now the next few environment packs you wind up considering or making, you've got a new tool in your bag. That's the whole point. So for the PBR tiling materials though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an overview of Substance on Wednesday. And we're going to talk about a few tools and you're going to go play with them. I will give you access to some pre-made materials that you can go in and adjust and tweak so you can just get the hang of the program. And then I'll be showing you how to export from Substance Designer so that you can understand a more of an overview of that program, not a here it is, now go get good at it in a weekend. Like that's no. So you don't have to actually make this last bit with quite as much depth as you have this piece because you haven't been exposed to how yet. However, for like the past 2 quarters now, you've had all of the tools to be able to make the trim sheet up to this point. We're good? All right. Below here is we've got our rubric, how to make sure that you get all of the pointsies, right? You'll notice here, this one is kind of want to point it out, is that if you don't make it to Unreal, you still get like 80. 80 out of 100 points. Like, don't panic, right? If you did game jam extra credit, you already made those points. So don't necessarily, like, I think, freak out if you're like nearing the end where you've made the pieces and you've got all 5 meshes and you've got both of your PBR materials done. You did 80% of the assignment, right? Just getting it into Unreal is that's to get the A. That's to get the A plus. Right? Good. Okay, that's what I wanted the takeaway to be about. All right, let me see what else. Okay, so let's talk ceiling and floor. Now the next like work in progress that you're going to be showing, which is due end of day today. Only 10 points. And if you for the video, for the recording, if you told me in advance that you couldn't make it to class, you're excused from this assignment. But everybody else who's here and watching the video or here today, if you after today, I'm gonna let me start over. Golly, my brain. At this point, when we get started on this, you should know essentially how to make walls, floors, and ceilings. And it's about as easy as it sounds. I'll be giving everybody some time after we cover this demonstration to go ahead and work on this and then share the progress of those meshes and the actual construction of the modular pieces. So that's what we're going to cover right now. Ceilings and who's it? Floors. That's my brain not working, guys. Man. I know. Like, it's in there. Like, the images, the stuff is in there. I know how to do this. I don't. Clearly. Oh, man. I love Global Game Jam so much, though. I do. I love it. I hope that y'all had a good experience. I know some of you weren't able to come to join us at the Bellevue College Global Game Jam. I'm still okay with you like participating in like the Seattle Indies version or whatever one that you want to do, as long as you tried out the jam and met some people and you made some cool stuff. That's what I was hoping for you. You get that fun, neat experience. You know, I gave a demo on like an intro to Unity course. And I just got to share this with you guys because I've had students who have come and gone and graduated who could be working at Unity, who like came to that demo anyway because I think they just miss me talking at them. And I'm like, that made my heart melt. I was like, you guys, what are you doing? Oh, they totally could. They totally could be working at Unity. They're coming to an intro to Unity workshop with me. Like, you guys. See? Cool. Let's see here. All right. I should have. Woo. Oh, look at that. I'm hot dog. I'm pretty good at this. I don't know. So, as a quick recap, to pick up from where we were before, I've got 2 materials assigned to this object. All right. We've got one flat material, which is covering the wall, which what I will make later, and the trim for the top part of the trim and the baseboard. Now, I don't really need 2 copies of a wall, but I do need 3 walls, right? I need a wall for a window and a wall for a door, right? So what I like to do is duplicate them, name them accordingly. For this guy, we'll set you back over to 0. Boop, boop. And this one's going to be my window wall. I like that. Something I'd also like to show you, because I think some of you were having a little bit of trouble maybe considering editing these pieces while also having the UVs in consideration. Because like once we've edited these UVs, we might have considered or been a little worried. Here we go. We're a little worried that we'd mess them up. So all of this stuff here, these side pieces, all of that, I'm going to move you over here. Don't care about you. Don't care about you. No. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't care about you. I don't care about you. Just getting them out of the way. Move it. Move. Okay. I think this is it. Great. Also, some of you might be, can I at all edit this without having to look at everything in here? Yes, you can. So for this whole chunk here, yeah, it is the same object. We can separate them. And to do that, you go over to mesh, click separate. Boop. We've got now two poly surfaces. We've got the wall and the trim. So I'm going to pop this wall right down here. Okay. I'm going to move this guy down here too. And I'm actually trying to move it outside of the wall parent, but it's not letting me. So I'm going to put it above it. While I have both of these guys selected, I'm going to remove history because I don't want that trouble in my life. Just going to remove all that. And now I'll call this trim. I'll call this wall. And now I should be able to, be able to just edit that piece now. I should have all that stuff out of the way that I don't want to look at. Wonderful. Okay, I want to make a cut. And you can do this any way you want. Either if you do the Boolean and just cut a piece out because that works for you and you make the cuts, awesome. You will have to re-edit your UV map again. It's okay. You can do it. Or we can try to maybe not mess up our UVs too much and like leave that alone. That's where the insert edge loop is really going to help you out. So I want this guy to be, I don't know, I'm just making it up for my window. There. Why not? Nice big window. I like it. Boop. Pretty easy stuff. Boop. All right. So once I've done that, I've essentially made a wall ready for a window. No, I didn't make the window yet. You can if you would like to, but for the sake of the assignment, maybe just like leave it alone for now and make sure you get the rest of the pieces done and we can re-merge these guys later. So it's one of my favorite things about the separate and the merge is that you can apply materials to separate objects and then merge them together so that the one object now has two material IDs. Perfect. Man, this is really close to what I want for a door too. So I'm going to go ahead and combine these guys. Name it S_wall_02. Boop. Delete that history. I'll need it. Duplicate again. Perfect. Something happened though. My pivot changed. Don't you guys hate that? I don't. It's fine. It's actually really easy to fix. So firstly, we want to make sure that we are set to 0, and we are, but we want the pivot to be at the 0 mark. Because when we snap them together in Unreal, that's where we want the pivot to be so that we don't undermine any of the other work. Like what if, hypothetically, you've been working on this level, on this really cool game, on this team, because you're a badass environment artist, and then you made some adjustments like this, but then you went to replace the kit bash, and it just moved every object that was placed in the level already. That could be devastating. So we want to make sure that we always have our pivot set to 0, the way we want our object to be related to it. So hit the letter D to be able to change, it's the hotkey, to change the pivot itself. You didn't already know that. Now you do. D is in dog. And I'm going to make sure I've got my Noah board open. It's clearly, there we go. Cool. Right. D is in dog. If you hold down X one more time, this will let you snap it to the grid. And because I just want to make sure, and I was right to check, we are snapped to 0 on all 3 axes. Okay. All right. So now our window is ready to go. All right, let's go ahead and, oh, that's right. Hit D again to toggle out of that view. Control D for that new duplication. Boop, boop, boop. Beautiful. Now this one's going to be for our door. Same thing. Think same. Think in terms of this right here. Just like just making that cut. That's pretty good. You know, if I was really thinking with my brain, I would have made sure that I included that I considered the grid to that snap when I added this. I could have added it to the grid instead. It's okay. It's not that big a deal. Pretty good so far. I'm going to just remove that. Move that. Move that. I am going to go ahead and remove these edge loops as well, since I don't think I need them. Boop. All right. One door, one window. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Any questions so far? You with me? Easy peasy, right? All right. Let's check on our UVs. All right. Everything's looking pretty good. Don't need to even edit anything. All that's trash. That's okay. About this guy. Oh, yeah. Looking real sharp. Don't even need to edit anything. Everything looks real nice. Okay. That's what I meant. There we go. All right. So we got 3 out of the 5 things done for this. Woohoo. Let's Control H to hide those for me. They're all still here. I can hit Shift H to bring them back. And now you can see. Hold down X. Do. I have a modular kit for a room. We can start making a room out of this. Now, this is actually the most boring part, just making the walls, making the ceiling pieces. But I gotta say that, like, once you get to this point, you start to get kind of inspired to make more. And I know some of you are like, but a column, I really want to make that column. Well, do it. You should. What's a great way to make a column? Make it a separate piece. S_column. And what I love about columns is that they're a really great way to basically default cube. I mean, it's trusty, man. Like, it does a lot for you. I'm going to scale up my column to be, let's say, 20 by 20 by 20. And I want the height of our boy here. These little room pieces, like, they break up. It's awesome because they can break up weird seams that you might have if you really want to. They are wonderful for corners, applying them to corners and walls to just like hide that bit. Remember, hold X to snap to grid. Yes, hold X to snap to grid. Woo. This is great because then when you start to construct your stuff, then J to rotate. 90, please. Whoop. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right? What's happening? You can make a room with it. At least that's the point. All right. So do you have to make a column? No, not really. But man, making a cool column is a really fun way to kind of break up and make a nice accent for the wall, however you might be interested in it. Okay. All right, so we made the walls, everything we need. Now let's make the ceiling and the floor. Floor, it's about as simple as you think it is. In fact, if you're going to get this thing into Unreal, you're probably fine just using a cube and applying a material correctly. All right. See here. Essentially, that's a floor. You could even hypothetically scale up a large floor, a floor that you've made just like this, and we can apply a scalar parameter to your material, and it will actually tile out whatever material you've made to fit correctly. So this is one way to do it, or you can apply it to a much larger plane or object in Unreal. I actually won't, because this is as simple as it is, I'm not going to require this mesh specifically be here, right? You can actually make the mesh using Unreal stuff. But just to be careful, floor underscore. All right. Now the ceiling. The ceiling might be a little bit trickier. Some of you might want to make something a little bit more interesting. It could also be considered as similar as an equal piece to the floor, but you'll be applying a different material to it. And we'll accept that. Control D. I'm going to go ahead and pop this up to here, and let's look at this from the front view. Hitting X, of course, to snap beautifully. Perfect. But it's lacking to me some details that I'd like to do. You don't have to go quite this detailed if your references don't expect you to or don't require you to. I'm gonna, though. I want to. I think it would be pretty.
Is it quite normal to use, say, like a floor texture on the top side, and then like a ceiling texture on the bottom side? Is that like a normal thing?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's totally fine. Sometimes it makes logical sense if you have, like, say, a floor piece that's both a platform for a high level player playing, or not. When I mean high level, I mean literally they're on an upper level, not they're a better player. And then a ceiling material on the bottom side. You could make one piece and apply 2 material IDs so that you can swap out whatever materials you want on either side.
So, but that one floor texture is sharing the same texture map, or like UV space?
Yeah, they would share the same UV space, but you would apply a second material to them. So, like, why don't I just show you how to do that right now? Right? I've got my ceiling side and my floor side, and let's say you'd really like this side to be floor and this side to be ceiling, so that you can use this one piece in multiple ways, right? So I'm going to go ahead and select the bottom here. For those of you that are wondering what I just did, was I used grow and shrink. You can find them under select. Grow will do exactly what it sounds like. It will grow your selection. Shrink will make it smaller. It's kind of nice if you've got, like, maybe a lot of geometry kind of happening here, but anywho, I digress. So let's say I want for this material here, these faces, to be a ceiling piece. Right click, assign a new material. Go ahead and call that a Lambert. This is going to be ceiling. Boop. Turn this on. I'm going to make sure that my material is visible so that we can see it. Number 4.
That's in the way.
Oh no, chat's in the way. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. So what I did, one more time, is I went to assign a new material. I created a Lambert. I'm naming it now the ceiling, so that this is for my brain, not necessarily what it will be in the game engine, but I just need to demonstrate that we've got a different color applied here. Turn this on. There we go. And notice how I've got one material on that side and then nothing on this side. Now, by default, I don't actually have to apply a new material on this sense. If we look at it, I've got Lambert 1 still here assigned to the rest of it. So that can be representative of our floor. But what is important, and you were right to be worried about this, is that the UVs are respected, that we've made sure that we've, like, applied the UV edits correctly. Now, this is also about as easy as you'd think, right? Let's go ahead and pop this over to the editor. Yeah, this needs to take up the whole UV space, and so does this guy, right? So let's start off with that. I want you to be cut. UV toolkit, please. Thank you. Go to cut, cut. And I need you and you to be cut. Cut. You and you. You and you are my babies. You and you. I don't care. The floor, just as easy as it sounds. I know I go a little fast sometimes, so I'm going to try to articulate what I'm doing here. I'm using the UV select up here so that I can select individually and it not affect other parts. Were I to use these other tools here, you'll notice it would affect a bunch of others. I don't really care about these guys, but since I don't want to edit them, I'm using this guy here. So this puppy will also want here, but I'm going to do a quick unfold. Okay. We should rotate him. Funny thing though, I believe under arrange, we can orient shells. Orient's wonderful because it will kind of automatically straighten it out for us. It's not perfect. So that for me, I actually do prefer to kind of get in here and straighten these guys out. You can do it by hand. Whoop. But I believe also that there might be a way to make these horizontal in here. I just can't remember off the top of my head. So, whoop, whoop. This type of thing is not super vital unless you just are like, do it if you care about how it looks. Do you have to? Not for a grade, but if you care about how this is going to look, yes. Right. That's basically the difference about whether or not you should be putting in more attention to this. Let's make this about the size of one. Right here. And if you're a little,
I was just curious about it.
Mhm.
Kind of like game engine something like that.
Yeah, that's a great thing to do, for sure. Love it. All right. I am going to now hit X to snap it right there. Yeah. Flatten. Hold X to snap it. Perfect. Perfect. Woo. Woo. All right. Bravo. Yeah. If you go ahead and do it this way, where you're trying to use one mesh to solve two problems, I love how you're thinking. Just make sure you label them as both, and I will count them for your mesh. Okay? All right. Yeah. Okay, let's unhide all. Shoot. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. Now for the material on the ceiling, were I thinking very well? I should have for sure included something for that in my trim sheet. I could hypothetically use the same layout that I used for these pieces up here for this. I could do that. I could do that. I could make a separate material altogether. I'll let you decide how you want to cover that. But I think we're now currently basically done with our kit bash for the meshes. And I'm going to stop there. Let y'all get back to modeling. I'm sure that you've got some solutions and problems kind of swimming around in your head. I want you to go ahead and have some time to apply. Yeah, Maya is tricky. It's funky. But it gets easier the more you use it. It's just this the case. I saw a really funny tweet kind of lately was, what do you mean 3D modeling or being a 3D artist is hard? You just have to be proficient in Unreal, Maya, Unity, 3ds Max, Houdini, Blender, and Substance, and all of Substance. Like, it's like, yeah, you have to really be proficient in understanding your eye and working with the grid and those components, because across platforms, they do solve it. They just have different names for the tools. They usually take a few months of just regular practice to get in there. Oh man, memorizing hotkeys, I'm about as good about it as I am memorizing the words I'm saying. I said Unity like 3 times today when I meant Unreal, because my brain does the same thing. My hands will do hotkeys for something else entirely. In Painter, I keep using Photoshop hotkeys. Drives me crazy. All right, y'all. How's about we give y'all about 20, 30 minutes of practice? And then we'll take a short break, and make sure go ahead that you share your work in progress at that point or after that point. Share with me what you've been doing for your actual kit bash meshes. I'd love to see them. And that's what we're going to go for here today. When we get back, you'll have some time to talk with your group, to share with that with each other. And then we'll get back to the next part. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So because of course I'm super with it today, forgot to set the discussion to be per group. So it's going to be everybody's kind of, dump share in there, but that's fine because you'll still be able to talk with your group about, your pieces. And really this is more of like an opportunity for you guys to talk about how you're doing, where you're frustrated, and to hopefully help each other. That's kind of a fun word. All right, so I'm gonna just take the next few minutes here to set up breakout rooms and let y'all be able to keep chatting with your teams for a little while. And then when we get back, we'll do the next bit. Cool. All right, cool. I can't wait to go see what y'all have been posting. The little bit that I did see was looking great. Looks like we're right on track. So the next bit that I want to show you is where I'd like you to try to be by Wednesday. No, I'm not going to have an assignment due by then or anything like that. But that's so that we can more seamlessly just apply that last bit for the home stretch to finish your assignment, right? And so I'm trying to give you the least amount of stress possible. I'm trying. I don't know. But let me bring this puppy bar over here. The mine up to date by Wednesday. Yeah, I mean, you'll probably have your most of it done. But like, it's all you're really waiting for now is how to apply some tiling materials. If you already made one, I think you're okay. I'm just worried that you'll use it in lieu of using the substance designer track I'm going to show you, but it didn't explicitly say in the assignment that you couldn't do that. So, I'm really
I just gotta watch how you transport it back and tie it up it.
Yeah. Oh, right. And there's going to be some playing catch up after game jam and stuff. I'm really not having you do much more today. If anything, I'm kind of just reviewing some steps that you'll need. And I wanted to make sure that we got them on a recording for you. So firstly, I pulled up my trim sheet in Substance Painter to remark on how to export again. So we're going to export our textures out of here, right? But before I had this, I think it like PBR roughness, which is fine and it will work. I'm going to be doing this time, just for funsies, the Unreal Engine 4 packed. So that way, I can export directly. You could export directly into Maya, or you could bring this into your Unreal assets and just have it import that way. I've already put this out into Maya. So I'm going to show you how, especially if you set it up through your source images from before, how to import that stuff back into Unreal. So I'm going to, why not, just do a little exporty. Texture maps are out. Don't need Substance Painter anymore. Sure, save it. I don't care. All right, we're in Unreal. And so we got to get these guys and all their stuff into Unreal. So let's make sure that we understand how to set up all of our meshes. Firstly, we want to make sure everything is set to 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And of course, it's not going to let me do it with all of them. So we'll do it individually. I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's in the way that I think,
Yeah, you're right. I can, let me just, just to make sure. So I'm setting all of this to 0, and I want to make sure that our scales are set to 1, 1, 1, and they're not for my floor and my ceiling. So also, I don't know that I want my floor and ceiling to be centered. I think I might want them on the corner. I'll let you pick what you want to do, but you should know that you can edit by hitting D where you'd like that pivot to fall. So I'll leave this alone for now. I think that this is okay. All of the pieces are where I want them to be, but not all of them have been set to 0 and scaled to 1. What do I got to do to fix this? Pop quiz.
The scale.
Yeah, how do I set this so that it's 1, 1, 1 and not
Transmission.
freeze transformations? Absolutely. That was it. Hot dog. I dock it because I hate finding it. And if you need to find it, you can go to, I think it's modify freeze transformations. Don't forget also to go ahead and delete history on all of your items. It's just nice, clean meshes. We don't have no history, no baggage, no emotional struggles it's bringing to the table. We're just going to clean up. No more history.
Quick question.
Yeah.
On the tab poly modeling, there's like a
Mhm.
little snowflake. And it has 3 zeros at the bottom. So it's freeze transformation. That looks different from your.
It does.
shape, but it's the same thing because that's what I've been.
Yeah, has it been working okay? I'm going to just give it a quick try. I'm sure it's fine. Whoop. Awesome. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. That's fine.
Just a second.
Yeah. I don't memorize these. Yeah, but I'm very glad that you're going through here and playing around with these. There are a lot of tools up here I do use regularly, but a lot I don't, and I don't work that way. But you can and you should, and that's awesome. And I love that that is also means freeze transformations. I wish my logo or icon looked cool like that.
Right?
That would be nice. Can I swap that, please? That's way cooler. Don't know why. Okay, so now that I've got all of these set up, they're ready to export. If you export all of them individually, you will get a single asset, but you will be able to edit all of them individually. I will actually export all of them as separate assets. I want their individual names, the S_wall 01, 02, 03, floor 1, and I got to switch this to ceiling. And I don't need a 1 after floor, unless you hypothetically need it to make a separate floor. Needed multiple floors or something. Which could be kind of cool. Like if you had a floor that had some geometry to it. Anywho, so let's go ahead and export these guys out. I'm going to export selection in each individual one, but not here. I'm going to put it. I actually think it's okay if it stays in scenes. I don't mind because I'm going to move them into Unreal. I just need to know that that's where they go. And I'm in the wrong project, so I got to get out of here. I was doing a personal project over the weekend. Scene, and I think it's fine if I put them in scenes. All right, so I've got S_wall_01. Whoop. What I like to do after I've exported it is hide it, so that I'm not accidentally selecting the wrong one. Selection. I wish Maya would stop moving my window off screen. So I'm trying to show you guys what I'm doing. Then I'll hit export. Cool. Yeah, hide that puppy. File. Export selection. It's over here again. Hey, why? What did I do to you, Maya? Right? Export selection. Type this one out. Cool. Selection. I don't know how to spell ceiling. I hope that's right. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to locate my Maya project, which I have handy actually. For me, it lives in my spare extra hard drive, right? So go to 217. I should have under scenes all my pieces. Yeah, I'm gonna just click and drag it on in. It's here. Reset default. Import all, please. Yes, please. Yay! Cool, cool, cool. Don't have any troubles there. That went well. Pleased about this. Let's see what happens when I click and drag. Oh, that's nice. Isn't that nice? That is a nice scale. It is not off in my scale. That's exactly what I want, just to make a point. Yeah. It's not a centimeter. And more importantly, it is to scale on the grid of Unreal. Yeah. All right. Okay. Go ahead and remove that. Looking pretty good. It is trying to preserve my Maya materials here, but the thing is that if I were to do that, I don't think I can actually edit these guys, or maybe I can. Let me look at my wallpaper. Yeah, it's just like kind of garbage. It's the color, which is fine for now on the wallpaper since I haven't made that material yet. What about my trim sheet? Lambert 2, trim sheet. Pop this puppy up. It also does not have much going on but my sample texture. So we do need to make sure that we are applying all of the texture maps onto the material. I don't love that it kept my Lambert because I didn't name it. I wasn't a very good artist about this. So yeah, go ahead and say that. So I'm actually gonna make a new material. There's nothing wrong with it. You can go in here and probably rename it if that's what you'd rather do. But I would like to show you how to make it from scratch. So we'll go to material. I'm going to call this trim sheet _ mat. Now, for those of you that have taken my 218 already, bonus points if you make material instances. Wink. Now I'm showing you how to do that right now. Everybody isn't expected to. But we're going to go ahead and just like apply this to the trim. All right. And now, as I edit this guy, I need now the texture maps. This is what I need them texture maps. So if I come back over here to my Maya scene, when I imported my texture maps into Maya, I put them in the source files or source images. So they should still be here. Yes, they are. And these are the ones that I need. I need the color map, the normal map, the roughness map, and the metallic map. Now, metallic is basically black because I don't have any metal on here, but you might have metal. So I'll just include all of it. We're going to click and drag this stuff on into Unreal. Easy peasy. Okay. Now, pop quiz. And you know that pop quizzes don't mean anything here, but pop quiz. I noticed that there's a bunch of asterisks on all of my stuff in here. What does that mean? Yeah, hot dog. Good job. So let's make sure we save it. Click quick save. Do you want to save everything here? All of this? Yes. Yes, I do. Now it's in there. Woohoo. In the material, now that I've got here, I've created it. I'm going to bring over color map, metallic map, the normal map, and the roughness map. Pop it on in here. Yeah. So now that I've got these parameters in here, I'm going to just give Unreal a minute to think. It's trying. I'm going to turn off Maya because I know that it's probably taking a second, and I don't need like 3 3D modeling tools open at once. I don't need Painter and Maya and Unreal all open while I'm trying to stream to you guys. Okay, so that's nice. Okay, so we've got 4 things. This is pretty easy. We're just gonna hook these guys up right on over to the slot that they are here. Now you notice they are named texture map. They're not named what they are. So I'm going off of how they look because that's what I know that they are. You can rename these in their settings in here. I'm not going to require you to do that. So just as long as you get these hooked up, I'll be showing you better practices in the future about how you really should be setting up a material. But for now, I really just want you to know that these parameters affect the final output of a material. Get this into metallic. This guy should go into normal. And I'm going to drop this guy down here, move this over here because I really don't like crissy-crossy noodles. Put this in our roughness map. Okay. Let's let that think for a second. It'll think, ooh, pretty. Very nice. Click save. Saving. Close that out. And now I've got my material set up on my wall. Let's put up this other wall here too. I want to look at this. Want to look at you. Let me get a look at you. There we go. Nice. Look at that detail. That's nice detail. It's fine, is what it is. I've got some Z fighting happening here. No one's gonna see that, so I don't really care. It's okay. All right. Now, if you have more materials to set up, you can go ahead and take it as far as you can right now. But at the moment, when we get back, I will be showing you how you can apply a new material. This is just like we did with this. This is going to be I've got wallpaper. I'll find wallpaper to apply on this. You might be looking for brick. You might be looking for wood panels or wood. And I'll show you a fun rabbit hole to go down to find those materials and how we can edit and alter them and explore them in Substance Designer when we get back. Okay. So if you get your stuff this far by Wednesday, golly, you're golden. You're golden.